concept of society is sick. In your marriage, of 1 of every 2.5 marriages end in divorce in this country, and with the cheating and the Kinsey report that came out that 92% of the married male population cheat or have affairs. This isn't sick. This is a total honest relationship. This is getting married in the eyes of God and saying that I will never be with another woman sexually for my whole life.
There is a lot of cheating, and
a lot of cheating. I'm saying you're 92% are cheating. I don't say a few people are cheating. And this is what you call, and you can sit there and say that our concept is sick.
Yes, because swinging, making love or sex in public or groups is a voyeurism. That's the sickness of it.
Why is that a sickness? Why is voyeurism a pathology?
Well, I think that taking a very private moment and wishing to exploit it and to have other people observe you.
It's not a sacred moment.
It's a narcissism that's...
Of course,
you don't have to have observe you.
If it turns you on, David, then it is pleasurable. It's certainly not sick. It is a victimless activity.
Why do people, everybody...
Now, if you were
you're the victim.
David, I presume that you do things that turn you on sexually. You would not do anything that wasn't exciting to you. You don't find this concept exciting to you. But
no, I find it revolting.
Of course,
very honest.
But you do things that turn you on.
Excuse me, how can you find it revolting if you've never seen it? You have never seen anything like this in your life, and you're saying, you're making a prejudgment without even seeing what this is all about, saying that this is sick.
Are the pictures from the article in Playboy?
Yeah.
And are the pictures from the article in Penthouse?
Of course they're
not
Are they
wrong? Were they distorted?
They're not real pictures. They're posed pictures.
That's not what
I would never allow a camera on my premises ever.
Nothing like that.
They're posed pictures?
Of course they
because
are.
the text says taken at Plato's
They were
retreat.
taken at Plato's retreat on night we were closed, and I had people come here and they posed these people in the different ways they wanted.
Let me rephrase the question. All right, those were posed, but were those activities in those photographs,
they can happen.
Are they typical of what goes on at Plato's retreat?
Yes,
there
I would say those, but you could see this at Plato's
sexual
retreat.
intercourse,
if we want to see it,
fellatio, cunnilingus.
But everything is done in certain
Things
areas.
that are done in people's, I presume, in the friends of yours' bedrooms, David.
I presume that it is happening.
And that's not
what we're
sick,
discussing here is whether it's done in public or not.
David,
yes, we are
Now,
discussing.
you find that sick?
Yes, I do.
I don't know.
Yeah, don't you?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not
It's
sick.
the most beautiful thing in the world to see a couple of people together, a couple, making love.
Just
really
There's nothing
enjoy
dirty
it,
about it. There's
loving
nothing wrong with
together.
it.
It's beautiful.
Why does it have to be such a turnoff? Why is sex such a turnoff?
Because we're
that
all
you
different,
can't
Larry.
even
David is
speak about
different
it?
from you and Jack and Bonnie
It's
and
how
Mary.
we're
That's all.
conditioned from our parents.
Why can't
Yeah, I thought,
Brought up.
you can't put me on the defensive.
Oh, absolutely.
What I think is what has been true for my lifetime and the lifetime of all the people I know.
Well,
Excuse
then,
me,
wait a
me.
minute,
What about the ancient
David,
history?
say that Plato's is sick for you then, not that it's sick. According to your aesthetic, maybe your morality, it's sick. But really, you want to use a different word than sick.
Sick is not right. It's
Unappealing.
not fair.
Is aesthetically revolting.
You mean
not fair either.
the fantasy, the
Revolting
common male
to you.
fantasy of an orgy is revolting to you? Have you never fantasized being present at an orgy and perhaps enjoying yourself?
No, I have never fantasized being.
You never
present.
thought of an
Honestly,
orgy.
never
Seeing
did.
an orgy?
Never. Honestly.
No, I've not had that fantasy. I mean,
Well, maybe
don't get
that's
angry.
not-
Okay, but David,
Then you're the
think of it.
fantasy.
I'm from Boston. It
Oh,
might
so
happen.
am I. But think of it, David. Now, think of it now. We'll give you a minute.
No, I don't need a minute.
I think about the Romans, the ancient Greeks, the Trojans. The whole society, civilization was built.
They crumbled, all those societies. They got
they
so
were-
decadent.
Well, let's
They
hope
were,
ours
they
are
were the
ineffectual.
foundation
Another
of our
historical
society.
cliche.
Our society. The Romans had the first flush toilets. We still got them.
I don't know what the hell you're saying, Jack.
I'm telling you, you take a lot of things from the ancient
All right,
times.
let me give you the aspect of it that I found most disturbing. All right, I'll throw out six.
And I have reservations about the place, too.
Okay, well, we'll get to
Okay.
yours. They're married in the eyes of themselves, I guess. They're married in the eyes of the law, and I presume you had a religious ceremony of some
Yes,
kind.
we did.
To take your wife to a place of public sex, communal sex, and expose her to the eyes of others and maybe suggestions of others or the activity of others.
Well,
Seems to me quite
If
unnatural.
anybody looks, we'll burn their eyes out. I mean, but as far as this goes, they just told you there were a couple that came down to the club because he brings his wife down to the club. That doesn't mean that she's open for everybody there to have sexual relations with.
not.
You see, you're getting the wrong idea of Plato's.
But she is technically.
No,
No, she's
No,
not
no,
available
no.
for nothing.
We could
No.
She's
interview other
available
people.
what she and he want to do at the club. Now, if they meet another couple, they don't quickly take off their clothes
No.
and jump together. They sit there, they eat, they go into a whirlpool, they talk, and they really
get
are
to know
stimulated
each
by
other.
each other. The place is available for them to get into a sexual encounter. But a man doesn't bring his wife down and say to her when they come downstairs, "Here it is, honey, now go get it."
Yeah.
It doesn't work that way. We're nice people. We're good people. And
Larry,
don't-
it works
we're
for some
offended.
couples that way. Some
Well,
couples,
yeah.
because we're all different. I know some men who come in to Plato's and they separate as soon as they hit the dance floor and they don't see each other all night.
That's true, but the wife still, if she's going around, she still does what she wants to do. She'll meet a man there, maybe, and converse with him, get acquainted with him, get to know him. People come in the first hour and a half or 2 hours of Plato's, when a person comes in, they stay fully dressed. They dance, they get to know people.
Are you there every night, Mary? Are you there often?
Not that often anymore, no.
Once a week,
Because,
twice a week?
More than that, usually 3 times.
Do you have relationships with other men there?
Occasionally, yes.
Does he know about it?
Yes.
You countenance it? You
I think it's fantastic.
You
If she
approve
comes-
of it?
Why not? If I'm at the bar, we have a bar with juices, and I'm standing there, and she comes out of one of the private rooms or the mats with a man, and I see a look of contentment, she's happy, and she'll introduce me to the gentleman. Fine, this is wonderful. She enjoyed herself. She's not going to love me any less because she had a sexual encounter 5 minutes before. I'll shake the man's hand just because we're friends. We're being introduced. If he's a nice enough person, I'll get to be friends with him.
Oh, Jesus.
The same thing if I come out of a room with a young lady.
I think the world's gone crazy.
But at least
You shake
where
his
would
hand
it
and
go?
become
Where
friends
do
with
why
him.
not? What did he do wrong? He gave my lady pleasure, didn't he? He's got to
Would
be
you
a
be
good
upset
with a
man.
man that danced with your
She
wife
wouldn't have
at
been with him
dance?
if he wouldn't have.
Very often I do get a lot of pleasure out of it, yes. And very often I give a lot of pleasure too, I hope. And
Doesn't
I
it
think that's what
diminish
it's all
your
about.
intimacy, your private relationship, your emotional commitment to each
Not
other?
at all.
It
Not at all.
enhances
She's a
it.
human
Do
Do you
being.
remember what I said at the beginning? I feel as if we're going to spend the rest of our lives together, and that's the way.
Why?
that's
Because
the way
he's
it
so
is.
tolerant of your sexual
No, I
proclivities?
enjoy
And,
being with her. I
You
enjoy
feel the
living
same
with
way
her.
about his?
Don't you think I would have to worry about all these beautiful young women chasing my Larry? He lines them up and he gives them numbers,
Not
you know?
true.
That sort
Does
of
he?
thing. Well, no, but
Is he active at his own club?
of course,
He is.
yes. We're both swingers.
You see him?
That's a horrible word.
It
Yes,
is,
they
it's
should change
awful.
that word.
Let's think of a new
Lovers.
one, something that suits it more.
Does she
But
see?
you
really not a good
see him, you know about that, and you accept it as enthusiastically as he does?
Well, I accept it.
There's no twinge of jealousy or
Yes, there
anger?
is. From time to time, there is jealousy,
What
of
makes
course.
you jealous?
If he were to single out one particular girl and be with her time and again, or a girl were to single him out and constantly chase after him, that kind of a situation
Does that happen?
does make me nervous. It has happened.
I'm in a different position from the actual person that comes in, you see. And there's no question about it. I'm the owner of the club, so that gives, let's say, certain advantages that really aren't real. But you can't help the situation. It's like anything else in any club, an owner or something like that. But as far as the average couple that comes to Plato's, it's a lot different, you see. In my position, I'll have a lot of ladies coming down and more or less chasing because I'm in the position I'm in. But it doesn't happen to an average couple that comes down. Everybody is on their own and they just go along as things happen.
For example, how about you two?
No, before Jack and I got into swinging, there'd always be this thought in the back of my head when Jack would go out on a Friday night or whatever night with his friends. Well, where is he? What bar is he in? What girl is he with? What phone number is he copying down? And since we've started swinging, and especially going to Plato's, I have never had this thought.
Well, you
in
don't
my
have to
mind at
anymore.
all.
He's exhausted.
No, but you see, it's
I'm never exhausted.
I think
because it's just not cheating when you're at this club. It's not considered.
You don't get
I
emotionally
consider it-
involved
That's
with
it.
anybody.
Yeah,
you're
it's
with.
just a
You're not
physical
supposed to.
relationship.
but then it's
that's
sterile
all.
and empty.
But it's
I
still
mean,
physical. Sex is physical.
It's a physical
It's a
thing.
sexual
You play
outlet
tennis,
everyone
what is
needs.
it? It's a physical enjoyment. After it's over, it's over. You go home, same thing with Plato's. Plato's is not
Sex is
realistic.
not like tennis.
David,
Nothing
it isn't.
is-
I'm
Why not?
using all kinds. Plato's is not realistic. We don't want it to be. We don't want people to live their life according to just Plato's retreat. It's a Disneyland, it's a fantasy land for adult couples to come, enjoy themselves for one evening at the club, and go home and forget
But they
about
come
it.
back and back and back.
Back as many times as you need to and want
They
to.
go every week.
They
Right.
enjoy
Because
it.
we
They don't
enjoy
swing.
it. We really
They don't
do.
swing every week.
Right?
No.
We go there for the freedom, the relaxation, what we need.
There are
Sit
so
down.
many lovely people there to meet and talk to and dance with.
We made a
and-
lot of good
We'll
friends
come
there.
right back to the lovely people at Plato's
Who's laughing
retreat
at us up
in
there?
1 minute.
There's your answer.
Philip?
David, you're right. There is something missing from all of the people that I've interviewed at Plato's. There's something missing about the quality of sex there. It is not ideal. There is no romance. There is an emotional commitment that usually makes sex beautiful absent from the place. Now, if that bothers some people, as it does you, if you do not see the value in pure physical relations, then you would not like Plato's. I've talked to a lot of people who were hurt by the place. They're casualties. There's some people whose conditioning, whose religion, whose parents, whose upbringing, who knows what it is, just can't adjust to the place. I've walked in and seen some of my friends there who stayed for an hour and left. They've never come back. I know people who've gone 8 weeks in a row and who swear they'll never come back. I know another person who went there the first night, made love, had sex with 7 people of various sexes, a female, the first night.
7?
7. She said she would never go back
Right,
again.
she had a terrible time.
No, she had a great time. She had a great time, but she said, this is not me.
That's fine, but at
And
least
that's
they had
what
the
David is
choice.
saying.
At least they went
Of
there, they had a
course.
choice to.
Tried it,
Of course.
and
This is
they
not
have
for
a
everybody.
fantasy.
We don't say it is. No
And a
question
lot
about
of husbands and wives who go there, who experiment, they want to know how they will react in this situation, have horrible fights afterwards because the husband will do a little bit more than the wife wants. It's an adjustment process. Plato's is work. It's not a picnic. It's difficult for people who want to go there, who feel they want to add something to their marriage but don't know how to do it. I can't imagine that
right.
you two
Everyone
had
has
a
their
great
own-
time
Yeah,
the first
right.
time and the second time. Did you ever have fights about Plato's?
Yes, but not concerning sex or jealousy. There were fights over something ridiculous. She didn't dance right the other
Didn't
night. I got mad.
dance
I
enough,
stepped on my
you
foot.
know.
I walked up to the
Were
dance
you
floor.
were you two? Did you have sex with other people before Plato's?
Occasionally.
Yeah, we were in the movement before
Did
Plato's
each of
came
you?
along.
Well, no. Before you got into the movement, were you unfaithful to each other?
I was. I'll admit it. On my honeymoon, I was even
Did you know, Barney?
Yeah,
afterwards.
afterwards.
And did you
sure.
find Plato's as a way to solve the jealousy of one-on-one's sexual
Well,
infidelity?
the way I feel, when I used to go out in the past, it was always like a game I had to play. Go to a bar, you meet a girl, you're real cute, you're pretty, the whole bit, just to score. Now, I may not have really liked the girl, but it was a physical. Where Plato's is just a physical movement. All men have a physical urge, a sexual urge. I mean, it's natural. I mean, there's only a few ways to relieve it. Here, you can relieve it without getting emotionally involved, without going to a prostitute, without feeling downgrading or low. You're with the person you care for a lot.
And you're sharing
It's
something.
love is-
It's a sharing thing,
Love is
too.
emotional.
Have you
Hate
seen Bonnie make love to another man?
Yes, I did.
How did you feel the first time?
First time, strange. I don't know, I was conditioned not to accept it. But mentally, I was accepting it. I'm saying it's not right. My mom said it's wrong. My dad said it's wrong. My rabbi said it's wrong. But I think it's right. So that
How
makes
did
me
you
sick.
feel the first time, though?
When we got home, I thought it was great. We made love 3 hours when we got home together. Matter of fact, the other night,
No.
Thursday night, we left Plato's at 4 in the morning. I said, Bonnie, you want to go home? She goes, no. We went right to a motel. We called the sitter up to watch the kids. Just me and her. Spent 3 hours more in a motel. We got turned on so much.
Now, David, do you see any advantage to that? That's what Plato's does for that marriage. It hurts other people, but it helps them. Would you still call that sick?
Yes, sir.
That they are now enjoying their sex lives more
After 13
together
years of
because of
marriage.
this. See it as
He's
therapy
no
if you
longer
want.
lying
Is
to his
that
wife,
sick?
and she's
Look
no
at the
longer
benefit.
hiding anything.
For
Look at
them,
the
it
benefit.
works.
It's a devastating therapy.
But it works for
Is
them.
it for them? Any therapy is good that works, isn't it?
Not necessarily. I can't believe that there aren't maybe subliminal or maybe more overt damage to people.
Only they can measure
in their,
that.
in
That's
their
right.
loss of dignity, in their
David,
loss.
but that's a subjective concept. That's you.
That's
That's
an
not
ego. That's a
them.
male
Believe
ego.
in.
So See,
gets hurt.
you are universalizing, or making
Perhaps I shouldn't do that.
your aesthetics moral.
Yes, I am. I am.
And that's a
projecting
mistake.
How I feel
yeah,
about it.
intellectually, that simply doesn't work.
When a couple goes to see, Plato's retreat, do they function as a couple through the evening, or
Some
do they
do.
split off from each other?
Everybody makes their own rules, you see.
What do they tend to do?
Well, what they tend to do is when the couple comes down to the club and they're in the car coming to the club, they make their rules how they're going to react at the club. Now, one couple might say, let's not separate, we'll stay together. If we meet another couple we want to be with, we'll do that together. Other couples, what they do is I say, let's go down to the club and just have a ball. You go one way, I go the other way. If we meet during the club, well, of course we go home together. It's a married couple or a dating couple. But everybody has their own way of how they're going to react at the club. What usually happens is when a man feels very secure that he'll be able to meet people and get involved, then he has a tendency to be able to say to his wife or spouse or whatever that, okay, we'll separate. When a man is a little insecure that he won't be able to react and relate to people, he has his pretty little wife beside him that's a cushion.
Do couples relate to other couples in your
I disagree with
experience?
that also.
Or do they split off male and female
They
as
do
individuals?
everything. They do everything. You cannot.
Stereotype.
There's
Yeah, you
no
can't
general
stereotype.
rule. Everybody behaves
Because we're all
the
different.
way they feel comfortable.
The people who go there are looking for different things. All couples have different expectations. All individuals have different expectations. And that's what's interesting about this place. If you look at it anthropologically, I mean, you can find almost anything you want there.
How do you feel about rejections? Have you ever gone up to someone and said, you appeal to me? And he said, get lost? I don't feel the same.
I don't think people walk up to others and say, you appeal to me, let's go in the back.
No.
It's not usually
Well, what happens
done
in
that
your
way.
case? You,
I think more or less you get to know people better before you make a move like that.
There really isn't any rejection at the club at all.
are you dressed or
It's
undressed?
never taken.
What condition are you in?
Most of the time I'm dressed,
You're dressed.
and occasionally I'm undressed. Occasionally I'll wear panties or negligee or whatever. Women dress in all different fashions. Men do too. Even the towels are worn.
Here's the question about rejection. There is no
Style.
rejection. If I or somebody else approaches a young lady or a young lady approaches a man, now, and they start talking and getting to know each other, and then he comes out and he says, come on, you want to go swimming or you want to go into the mat room? And let's say she doesn't want to. It's not a rejection on him because she might have just come out of a sexual encounter, or maybe he did, and he's just not ready to get involved sexually. That's not rejection. Maybe an hour later the same person will approach you. There's no rejection at Plato's.
Are they all anonymous, these encounters? Do you know who you're dealing with?
We all become
Did he
friends.
give you his first and last name?
Many of us
All the time.
have children, and we go on picnics together. We bowl, we shoot, play baseball. We do all the normal things that everyone
Go
else
to theater
does.
together with other couples? Why not?
With couples you've
shows
swung
and
with?
dinner.
Because we don't,
So
and when
on.
we go out into the so-called real world, we don't swing out there. I've been to the theater with another couple last week. We went to the theater. That's it. We get to dinner together.
We
We're like
became the
everybody
best of
else.
friends with one couple. We were
We're
invited
so
to their
damn
wedding.
normal.
We had a wedding at
We go
Plato's Retreat
everywhere
3
I
weeks
together.
thought the essence of swinging sexually is non-involvement with the other people, except sexually.
No.
Not emotional.
Larry, I've talked
No
to a lot of
emotional.
people there who would not give me their names.
Last names, never. Because of
But
the
then the-
situation of the society. People can get fired from a job because they're in a swinging movement. It's ridiculous, but this is what it's at.
Yeah, there is a guarded anonymity there.
Definitely.
When I wanted to interview a couple, they gave me their phone number, nothing else. They didn't, I mean, even though I promised them I wouldn't use their name.
It's a frightening
There is
thing.
great fear. There was fear getting people for this panel.
Yes, there was.
It's not
Because
easy.
they were afraid that their relatives or employers or something would see them.
Exactly.
But because of things like what you just said. You see, you said sick. Now, if his boss was sitting there watching television and he was on and he feels the same way you do, this man would be fired Monday morning. It's ridiculous because of a lifestyle that he believes in. And there's no reason for that. This is his social preference to live this life. And there's nobody that has a right to say you can't do this because you're enjoying yourself. We're not hurting anybody. If you don't want to come down to Plato's retreat, that's fine. I respect you for your feelings. Don't come down.
But
That's
you,
all.
you don't have to go to Plato's. You don't have to have this lifestyle to go to Plato's
No,
retreat.
of course
We
not.
talk about
I-
lifestyle,
I-
but a lot of my friends go maybe once a month. They won't go for 3 months. Friends will
Fine.
come into town. They want to show them the greatest show in New York City, and they go.
It is
I
the
know-
greatest show in New York City,
I was saying,
Yeah.
by your definition?
Yeah.
well, I was saying the best dances are down there. I know
No.
people that go there just to dance and nothing else.
Do you know that I never used to dance if we
Want
go
to
to
play
a
those?
club, a disco? I would never dance. I felt I just didn't do it properly or right or good enough. And since I've been coming there, I get up on the dance floor and I just don't care.
See, when
I
you
just
take off
do
some
what
of
I
your
wanna
clothing,
do.
not all, a blouse, a shirt, you lose a lot of your inhibitions.
Yeah.
Is
You
the
become
dance
free.
floor fairly nude?
It depends on what time of
Towels,
the
mostly
evening.
with towels
Yeah.
wrapped around.
Towels.
Most people have towels wrapped around when they dance. There's very little nudity walking around Plato's. Very little.
Very little. I
Because
would.
But our staff went down to,
Yeah.
and saw a
Right.
lot of nudity.
No, not nudity. They saw people undressed.
Semi-nudity.
Semi.
Well, what's the difference between undressed and...
Well, walking around stark naked like a nudist colony, people walking around like that. I'd say you'd have one out of every 100 people would walk around with absolutely nothing on. It's panties, a top bare, but this is not nude. They're covered in certain areas. The towel's the biggest thing. I'd say about 85% of the people that get undressed walk around with towels wrapped around them. So it's not...
Semi-nudity.
Well,
Yes.
Nude.
Partial nudity.
Actually, a towel covering you covers you more than a bikini bathing suit.
That's true.
So the nudity isn't the turn on at Plato's, seeing people
What
there.
is the turn-on?
Freedom.
Seeing
People,
other
I
couples?
tell you, I think it's the mellowness, the atmosphere. It's just
freedom
the
to do
whole
what you want.
freedom. You get a certain high. You know, I don't need liquor. The State Liquor Authority came down with an injunction on me. It was ridiculous. There's no liquor needed at Plato's retreat. You don't need any drugs at Plato's retreat. We don't allow it. But just coming down and that disco hits you and the laughing and the fun is an instant high. I don't care what anybody says. People come to me and they tell me this. It's an instant high just to be on the premises. And there's nothing wrong with that. I would rather have that than a drug like the discos in New York that actually have drugs and everything else.
No names.
I won't mention any names, but there are discos. We all know this. I don't have this. I'm not into this type of thing. I don't believe in that. I don't believe in a drug society. I don't believe in any of this.
You believe in a free society.
A free society where people can just have a good time and enjoy themselves the way they want to without hurting anybody else.
But I do think you hurt yourself in the process.
Well, I have a right to do
Yeah,
that.
you're not
I have a right
privileged to
to
make
do
that judgment.
Hold it, we'll be right back.
Stay tuned.
I'm interested in the kind of people that go there. Are they all professions, all nationalities, all,
walks of life.
they cut across all economic groups?
Yeah, they do. They do, because apparently all of these groups are interested in sex and interested in orgies. For example, I was there one night
Philip,
watching...
you've mentioned orgies several times at today's talk, and how often do you see actual orgies in the sense that people imagine an orgy as a big group thing?
Don't you have a mat room,
With a lot of-
one large room with a lot of foam?
Yes,
But
we
they're all
do.
private. They're really
Yes, we
private
do.
encounters together. Two couples.